Okay. So what's going on YouTube? This all you gonna get because you be tripping. It's your boy Humble Way checking in, back with you again. Wanted to go live a little bit with a consensus topic that's been talked about for a minute here. As you read by the title, and it says Tua can't throw deep. Um, I don't know the Gauntlet stats on like his percentage wise when he throws deep, but sometimes stats can be deceiving. So can numbers. Um, if you look at the majority of his games, I think he's played what 20, 23 games. Look at the majority of his games, he tries to attempt at least two, three deep passes um, per game. Now we can look at what he has in terms of his. That's it now. In terms of his arsenal of his weapons and stuff like that. So if you go down his his list of playmakers, right? You got yeah. Okay, now here you go. Tyson. You got Devontae Parker, who's a possession receiver. You got Mac Hollins, who they don't clearly use enough. But he's a gadget receiver, which he can run every route in the route tree. He can separate. He can catch, easily contested upstairs. He can catch contested. He can catch jump balls. He can pretty much do it all. You got Mike Rakowski, who's a hybrid tight end. We're not a tight end. I think he's basically a wide receiver. They label as a tight end, but he has great route running skills. He can separate. He can go over the top and get the ball, and he's a pretty solid downfield threat. And you have Jalen Waddle, who's their speed guy. Now, as you see, I didn't name Preston Williams or Albert Wilson or Will Fuller because I mean they really contribute nothing to the offense. So, with just those four players, Parker, Gronkowski, Hollins, and Waddle. Now, people that say he can't throw deep, they fail to realize majority of the games that he has thrown deep in, majority of those targets went to Parker. But he's not a down threat receiver. He's not a downfield threat. He's more like a possession receiver. So if it's third and 15, Tua will have him run a 20-yard in, which goes toward the sideline, and he throws it to him. Or he'll make him throw a deep slant where he throws it in rhythm and stride where Parker can catch it and keep going to acquire the yardage needed to convert the first down. So that's one element against him. As far as Waddle goes, Waddle has elite speed and his route running is superb. Now he can actually separate really really well, and because he can separate so well, the defense has to respect his speed, which means that when he do get by them, Tua has connected with him down the field, as you saw against the Ravens, saw against the Tennessee Titans. Um, you saw it against the Patriots. You saw it against the the Saints. He did it a few times. Um, you seen it in a few games. Carolina Panthers, the slant route he took for 50 plus yards down the field. Um, he could just separate and just keep going. Now, that doesn't equate to throwing the ball deep, but their play calling this year was absolutely horrid. There were play calls of what I didn't understand why they kept going underneath, like 5 or 6 yards here, maybe 7 yard route here or 10 yard route here or whatever, to try to get the first down and convert it. Didn't understand the play calling, but nonetheless, it happened. So here's my take on it. I've seen what he can do in terms of throwing deep. He's very accurate if you give him time to pocket. And then somebody made the compelling argument, well, when he hasn't been given time, he doesn't do well. I've seen the pocket collapse on him, and he still stepped up and made the pass. Like the New York Jets game when they was at MetLife Stadium, the pocket literally collapsed on him with just three players, three defenders. All he did was step up, step to the left, and threw a 52-yard shot put pass right down to a Wade McCollins, who backstepped and then proceeded to carry his momentum forward into the end zone. Now, people want him to be this, you know, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow type player every single Sunday. But you look at them as well, they don't make many deep pass attempts. The I'm assuming that what they're trying to do is compare apples to oranges per se. Hold on a second.
You not Roger? No, he's still cooking. His ass supposed to be getting his jacket on. Coming on home. Hey, what you doing? Hey, hey. Come on home. You ain't got what over here.
But
I'm gonna get ready to
comparing
go
apples
home.
to oranges.
He's gonna leave me halfway.
You done already met him over here. Huh?
Man, I done had to come all the way over here.
Well, I'm getting started with drinking at 10 in the morning on Sunday.
Oh, son, I was
Yeah,
damn. Cool. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I was
I ain't
like,
gonna go too hard though, cause I gotta make it to the game.
yeah, I'm gonna
So
finish. Just finished my bottle of day. I was like,
we
bro.
finna have everything here. So I mean, I'm just gonna let you know. But I'm starting at 10. So she doing like wings and pig in a blanket, stuff like that. Okay.
I ain't really about to get started with you.
Yeah, might as well. I'm gonna take a slow though, 'cause I gotta make it to the
Hey,
game.
yeah, I
I
know that
can't
made it
get
to the
too
game.
drunk. Then, like, dang,
Get it
man.
to the game.
Yeah. So,
We trying to get weak, cause man, we got a late work card today too.
yeah, 9.
Shit, I'm with it. I'm too.
I'm gonna be lit up. I already know it. That one I'm gonna take small shots here and there,
Right.
watch a few movies, and try to just cause I hate the Super Bowl pregame. I don't care about that. I care
Yeah.
about the actual game. So I'm like, just get me to the game and I can start watching it.
All right, bro. Come on, go eat some eat, come on. I'll catch y'all later.
All right, man. Yeah, sorry for that, guys. But I guess they're trying to compare apples to oranges in terms of Herbert, Burrow, and Tua, and what they bring to an offense when they fail to realize is what you put around the players. Because you watch Joe Burrow, most of his passes this year were not deep. They went to chase on simple routes where he outraced defenders to the end zone repeatedly. Even this postseason, I don't think he attempted many deep balls, but they rest their morals on trying to bash Tua for not being able to do so when he showed on a consistent basis he can make a deep pass, and they got there with pretty good velocity. Now it may not be what they deem or what they want as a strong arm or whatever, but the ball gets there, and the receiver don't have to sit there and wait 45 to 50 seconds for the ball to arrive. It's there when they turn around. It's right there. It's gonna hit them. I think Jalen Waddle against the Ravens. I know he jumped in the air because he was full speed and he cut to the sideline, and when Tua let it go, he was basically, I guess you could say, yeah, actually when he let it go, he was turned toward the sideline. He just jumped up and made the catch because the safety didn't want him to blow by him. So I think that was like a 35 to 40-yard pass that he completed. And then they showed his rookie year where he was throwing like straight up 40, 50-yard bombs against certain teams, but it just wasn't being completed because at that time he had Jakeem Grant, who was a deep threat, and most of the passes weren't getting completed at all. We had very little success with the deep ball, but this season was decent. Um, I pray that Mike McDaniel is his new coach because I seen what he did with San Francisco and how Jimmy G was looking when you put the weapons around him and you put a reliable running game around him. Jimmy G, even though he's barely average, he looks like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback in the regular season. Now the postseason different the ball game. In the regular season, he's like a Pro Bowl quarterback. So it's about the offensive system you put in place to help your quarterback become more efficient. Now, does that mean that he can become a deep threat passer? Absolutely. I think he should, hit the gym hard this offseason, get out there and throw, 40 to 50 passes a day. What's going on, man? Just to improve on his deep ball accuracy. Because at the end of the day, he has the tools to do it in terms of his arsenal, what he can do with his arm. It's just people sleep on the fact that well he's only 6'1", and he runs the RPO system, he runs this. But against Chan Gailey in his rookie year, they didn't run the RPO that much. They ran a lot of bootleg. So he's adapting to different playing styles or different systems that have been implemented with the Dolphins. But nobody wants to talk about that. He went from play action, roll out to his left, his rookie campaign, to the RPO with a new offensive coordinator. Now this year, coming next season, he have a brand new system he has to run. The same thing he did in Alabama. Three different offensive coordinators in those 3 years he was there, and he ran all three systems successfully, which means that he has the adaptability to make the adjustments to upgrade his game and still be an efficient quarterback, which I'm predicting that he becomes elite year three. He's gonna put up 4,000 plus yards. As long as he stays healthy, that's the only thing I say. They gotta fix his line. And I'm so tired of people not making it about the offensive line when it clearly is. I don't know one quarterback that can just stand there behind a real bad offensive line and do what they do. And don't give me that Joe Burrow shit either, because you saw what happened to him. Now, to Kansas City credit, they played down to Cincinnati for some reason. They stopped. For some reason, they rested on the fact they was up 23 or 21 to 11 or 23, 21 to a 10, and they stopped trying to actually score. So because of that, Cincinnati snuck up on them and they got the dub. Oh my God, this is terrible. You just can't leave stuff alone. I hope we. I hope we get. I hope we let Tua throw deep this year, and we get him an online, another weapon, and one of see. It's only hard to. No. Uh, it's so hard to learn that many plays and different plays to play during the game. It is, man, but I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it. Cause you gotta remember his rookie year, what he had around him. It's the same cast of characters, except he didn't have a bona fide playmaker. And then not Water, but Parker and Williams and all these other people were hurt except for Gronkowski. He was the only safe valve two ahead. They had Mac Hollins, but I don't know why they rarely played the man. Mac Hollins to me is better than Gronkowski. That's just to me because he's a complete football player. But people look at Gronkowski's numbers and say, "Oh, he's a great tight end." I mean, he's all right, man. But when you need him to block, that's why they take him out of the game a lot, which which alerted a lot of defenses that they're finna run the ball now because Mike out the game. With Mac Hollins, you don't have that problem. But I know Tua has a rapport with him, so I don't see them getting rid of him. But to stay on topic, they need to get him an outside the numbers receiver. Because Waddle's an inside the numbers receiver. He can go outside, he can. But most of his damage is done on the inside. Between the numbers. Over the middle. Stuff like that. That's where he can zoom in and then he can head down the sideline and try to beat you with his blazing speed. Outside of that, he does a lot of his damage inside the numbers. So they just get them a outside the number receiver, then they'll be great. Who is CMC? I don't know who that is. But to answer your question, yes, whoever that is, I mean, if he can bring a system that helps our offense um, become upgraded, then yes. I mean, because I'm tired of seeing the same mediocre play offensively. Because even people will brag about the defense. To me, the defense wasn't that great. They gave up a lot. They were a bend but don't break style defense. When they can't produce turnovers, they're not gonna beat anybody because teams will march up and down the field on defense the entire season. It just teams like what Carolina and New York, they would would cause a pick or fumble or whatever. But the teams that actually play football like Tampa Bay, you're not gonna force them to make turnovers. So you got to play traditional football with them, which is beating them at X's and O's. They're gonna do that a lot of times. So what you want? Why would you push the dress over? That's why I wasn't there. Okay, we'll throw you back out. Mm, Christian McCaffrey, I don't know about man. He stays hurt a lot. So, huh? Yeah, you go. But Christian McCaffrey stays hurt a lot. So I don't know. He would be a great addition in terms of the backfield because he can actually catch the ball and then he can provide a great spark. Will you quit trying to push stuff? Okay, I'm on live now, so I gotta go. But would he help? Absolutely. He would have to build that rapport with Tua from OTAs and training camp, which I think they will. I also think they're gonna keep Duke Johnson. If they don't, then they're retarded. Because Duke Johnson was a workhorse for those last 3 weeks that they had, and I would love to see him stay on the team. Talking about that, I'd love to see Duke Johnson stay on the team. But I mean, to me, it's all about what Mike McDaniel, what he wants to do, because he already said he can work with Tua because he sees potential. If he didn't feel like he couldn't work with him, I don't think he would even entertain the interviewing process to get the job. Because you don't work with a quarterback you think they can't lead you to the promised land. I mean, the man went from Jimmy. He had Jimmy G as a quarterback, and you saw what Jimmy G did against the Rams. Well, you saw the first 3 quarters we did. The fourth quarter, you saw what happened. And the fourth quarter two was money. So I mean, you be the judge. But that would make sense, given Parker's inability to stay healthy. I mean, they might actually take that trade. Besides, Parker's not going to give you a whole lot during the game. It's like moments here and there, but for the most part, he's so inconsistent with his health and his production that you don't know what you're gonna get from a week in, week out basis. You have no idea. Just like Will Fuller, I was really excited about him when they actually picked him up because I was like, okay, this is a legit deep threat receiver. And then after about 5 weeks, he broke his hand and he's gone. So my question to the Dolphins is, are you guys gonna keep him or are you trying to basically get rid of him and find something else in the works to replace what he could have been offensively? Because had he not got hurt, oh, it would have been a great connection. Because I already know he ran right by a couple people and Tua would put on the money. So Tua would have had many more touchdowns than what he currently had in the season with. Because 16 touchdowns, man, I mean, people don't understand. In order for him to do what he did in terms of getting what he got touchdown wise, a lot of those times he had to put the money dead on the money, and he did a lot of times. You didn't see tip balls and like that going in the other people's direction and like that. When he made the decision, the ball came out. But I hate that he got hurt. He missed like 5 or 6 games this past season. Had he not missed those games, his numbers would have been even better. Because I mean, case in point against the Buffalo Bills, somebody made a case to me about, well, he has to beat the Bills, yet he's 0-3. Very true. But if you watch the last game we played the Bills, we was up in that game to the very last minute. The Bills was sweating because the Dolphins were right there with him. And I think he threw a pick though. That's what sealed the game for them. But with like 9 minutes of change, we was only down by 6 points in the fourth quarter. So the defense was holding this, doing its job, and then the offense finally came along for the ride. But that was after beating and chipping away, using the running game, to a degree, because we didn't have Duke Johnson then. But I think we probably did. But beating and chipping away at the defensive line of the Bills, and then we finally got a drive to go down the field and score and get a 2 point conversion. And down to that, they went down and scored, which I don't know why the defense did that to us. After that, it was over. So I feel like I feel like this upcoming season they'll get the Bills. They'll beat them. But if you see the schedule, the Dolphins have the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Bills, which means what? Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert. If he can beat all three of them, or at least two out of the three, if he could beat Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, which is the same quarterbacks in this class, what would the conversation be then? Did you make the right pick? And let's just say, for the sake of argument, Tua puts up 400 yards against the Bengals and 400 plus yards against the Chargers, and Joe Burrow and them barely put up 300. What would be the argument then? You know what? I honestly hope they do because he's legit, and I want to say I want to say he's a Pro Bowler, but I hope they do. I would love to see them go after him and Trent Williams, the the silverback. If you get him on the left and Sharif on the right, that's all you need right there. That's it. The rest of them guys can follow suit. You can plug and pick, but in between, because you got an anchor on both sides of your line that won't hardly let anybody get to Tua. One no edge rusher have a chance in hell. They won't get no pressures. So he can actually step up, step to the side or whatever in the pocket, and he can be slinging that motherfucker. But I hope they get smart enough to go after somebody of his caliber. I mean, if you gotta give up a couple picks, then do that. You got $75 million in cap space. Make it happen. You can go out there and get you a real good free agent or a real good, you know, trade you some assets for a really good guard or a really good tackle to help this kid out. I'm telling you, I would go after Trent Williams. I think he plays for San Francisco. I go after him. I contact his agent. I find out what the terms are on his contract. I'll negotiate the numbers, and I'll find a way to get that to make that green light trade happen. Bring the silverback to Miami, and then get you a comfortable right guard to go on the opposite side of him, and watch how the offensive line take off. Because Trent Williams is very reliable. He don't get hurt, and Sharif has been very reliable all season. So imagine the two of them with a good running rushing attack, and with a young, healthy, vibrant, energetic Tua back there slinging it. But my only caution to Tua is I would just keep it at a minimum like 25 throws per game. So make those 25 throws count because you don't want to wear yourself out as the game goes along. But well, you can always go young. I mean, the Trent thing was a suggestion, so you can always go younger. Because they got some promising offensive linemen that are um, that did pretty good. So I actually gotta look it up to see who's at the top right now. But they got some decent linemen out there. It's just we gotta do better than we had. Cause Jesse Davis was a complete nightmare. And the messed up part is he played up until week what? He played up until week 16. So I don't want to get off here so I can go change my phone because I think he's over there boo right now. So peace out.